as command career counselor. And then as she's gotten out, she's helped write resumes and do job searches and interview techniques for both sailors and civilians. So she has a really vast experience with helping people out in the community. So if you will help me, welcome Candy O'Neill.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here tonight. Ah, the timer, the dreaded timer.
That's really cool. FYI.
So we're talking about community. What can we do to better serve our community? As a career counselor, I got an opportunity to learn more about people than teach them things because I spent a lot of time listening to them. So in doing that, I got to learn a lot about each individual, what makes people tick, so, what motivates people and things like that. And knowing those types of things, you get to go around and learn a lot about different communities as well. So the community that we have here is predominantly veteran-based, or the spouses and family members of veterans. And so some of the intricacies that we get to learn about are, how can we better serve veterans? As a veteran myself, that's kind of like where my bent is. And things like that. So, taking what they have learned while they were on active duty or their reserve time and transferring that over to how can we use those skills in the civilian sector. I was working at WorkSource. I have left them. I'm in the process of working for Office of Personnel Management as a background investigator. But still, counseling is part of my deal. So people come to me and they ask me, hey, can you help me write a resume? Can you help me do interviewing techniques and things like that? There are a plethora of resources that are here in the community that can help folks with that type of stuff. You don't have to spend a dime writing a resume. And that's one of the fallacies that people come up with, is that they think that they have to, spend, a lot of money to get a good resume written. And actually, there's a lot of good resume programs. Business Insider Careers is one of the resources that I personally use to get good tips from Facebook on career advice and things like that. So it's a good way just to get caught up on, what are employers looking for, and, some interviewing techniques and things like that. One of the things that people forget when they get into interviewing is they forget that they get to ask questions as well. Some employers will say, they want to hear at least 3 questions. And it's not questions like, wow, what's the pay going to be like? Or what are the benefits? Or do we get like paid vacations or something? Those are not good questions. A good question would be, why do you like working for this company? How did the last person be so successful in this position, and that type of thing. So those are the types of things that people want to keep in mind. And if you want some more information about writing resumes, or how volunteerism can be put onto a resume, because sometimes your very first job right out of school or while you're in school, you're not getting paid for it. It doesn't have to be a paid job to go on a resume. You can add that to that and write that in there. And then how to speak to that during the interview process. How do you take your skills and use them in a job that you like? Well, there's a lot of ways of being able to do that. I was an aviation structural mechanic, so I was a hammer slammer when I was in the Navy, and then I converted over to Navy counselor. So that gives me a lot of different skills that I can work with. Some of them are painting and body work, and a few other ones are career counseling and helping people write things. So you can take those skills and use them, to your advantage, and you can just do a wide range of things. For students, what are the types of things that you like to do in school? What are some of your favorite classes? Those are some of the things that you may want to consider when you start looking for work on the outside. Your very first job may be working in a restaurant. It doesn't always have to be working fast food, but there are some service jobs that will get you started. Different things like that. How can we help the community by being able to do this, though? Well, get involved initially. Even an unpaid position. There are internships out there, and then there are paid internships that you can get through WorkSource as well. and I'll keep plugging WorkSource because they are a good resource for folks. But we have a lot of other ones out there. So if you want some more information, you can feel free to hit me up afterwards, and we can sit down and talk about some of those resources that are out there for folks. If you just want me to kind of look over your resume for you, I'd be more than happy to do that. But also the folks over there at the WorkSource office on Kettle Street are more than happy to do that as well. Got a lot of time left on this thing. So, when I was working over there, I worked with the Economic Development Council, Ron Nelson. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Ron. Ron is a really great guy. There's two folks that really run the EDC of Coopville, and actually it's for all of Island County. And he came up with a book that shows all of the military, actually the Navy rates that are out there that can also transfer over into the construction field. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that somebody's a construction man or a builder or a building electrician or something like that. But they could be an AMS like myself, different jobs. Even aviation ordnance has some skills that can fit into the construction field, which is a very highly desired field right now. There's construction, there's nursing, and then there's, believe it or not, IT. So there's a lot of different fields out there, but those are the three main sectors right now that are so in demand that they're really looking for people. CNAs are some of them, so if you ever wanted to consider just starting out, typically that's a little bit more than minimum wage, about $9 to $11 an hour, but it's a good place to start if you want to get into service. And you can be a CNA at a senior center or special needs homes, or going out to individual houses and helping folks out and do things like that. Different types of jobs that are here. Just driving through town today, I saw that Wendy's had a hiring event. 7-Eleven is hiring. You just drive through the city and you'll see hiring signs. People always say, well, Oak Harbor, there's no jobs. There are jobs out there. Tractor Supply's opening up. They're going to have a whole plethora of jobs. But if you go to, Indeed or the WorkSource site or Monster or anybody like that, you'll be able to pull down the list of all the jobs that are in this zip code and be able to start just looking for something that fits your skill set, which is really important. And that's another thing, it's like, what am I good at? Do I have a skill set? Well, yeah, actually you do. And if you go to the WorkSource site, and I keep plugging that because it's free and it's easy, but if you go to the WorkSource site, you'll be able to see some of the tools that they have on there. One of them is a tool that you can plug in some of your likes and dislikes. It'll ask you, well, do you like, repetitive type of work? Do you like working outdoors? Do you like researching things? Do you like sales and things like that? And then it'll kind of give you an overview of the types of jobs that will fit your personality, your likes and your dislikes, and your capabilities as well. So that's a good tool for somebody who's never done work before, in a paid job, or they're transitioning from one job to another. I've worked with folks who are in abusive situations, so somebody who's fleeing an abusive situation and trying to start off on their own, and they've been like a homemaker their whole time as an adult, trying to figure out, what do I do now? And so we would sit them down and just kind of work through that whole process of what are your skills, what do you like to do, what don't you like to do, what's your budget, and that's on that website as well as a budget maker. So there's a lot of different things that you can do through that resource there. Opportunity Council is another good place for folks to do the type of researching and job search. They'll help you with housing and things like that as well. So as we go through this process of community conversations and connections, we'll be able to pull some of those resources together, and you'll be able to see some of those things that are out there that will better help you and better help all of us be able to serve the community and serve each other as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Candy.